All right. Welcome to this bonus episode of Crashing Game Night. My name is Matt Diorio, your host, as always. We're actually doing this as a bonus episode to thank everybody for us hitting episode 300 a couple of weeks ago. We couldn't do it without any of our guests, which Gerard Barrera and I are joined by the impeccable, amazing Tommie Earl Jenkins.
Dude, oh man, thank you. What a
Bonus
pleasure.
episode. Talk about a treat.
I'm honored. I'm honored to be the bonus, man.
Such a treat. Oh man, it's more like a treat. We're just so happy because it's been, as we said, it was episode 58 that we had you on. Yeah, it's been too long. But
to put that into context, folks, that episode, which you can go to Tommie's profile on crashinggamenight.com with a link to the episode, but that episode aired January 26th of 2020.
Wow. Yeah, man.
Wow.
That's crazy.
To put that into even bigger context, for those that have been sticking around with us that long, my youngest son was born January 31st of 2020.
Wow.
So he was born like the week after we did the episode with you. He was born. So
wow.
Month early. But yeah, that's how long it's been. Next month will be 5 months.
Man.
I know. It's like we've been, you and I've kept in touch over the years, right? Since then. And we've been talking about, okay, Tommie, what's your schedule? When can we do this? Right. And let's catch up, folks, on just what you've been up to before we really catch you up on. So you had Fallout 76.
Yeah.
You were Aldridge. Ubercorn is still going for you.
He's still out there, man. The world's best disco unicorn. I love him.
Right. Death Stranding got a director's cut release that got to PC and everything. And with some of the things going on in the US, some of the clips of his speeches in Death Stranding have now resurfaced, and it's great. We're seeing TikToks of those. Diablo Immortal, Saints Row. You were Jacob Kane in Gotham Knight.
What a treat, man.
Bayonetta 3. You were, of course, the mayor in Wednesday.
Yes.
My gosh. I loved it. I I was so excited and ecstatic. I literally called when the show debuted. I immediately told my grandma and my aunt when I was watching it. We interviewed the mayor. Yeah.
We know the mayor.
So cool.
The mayor.
So Jedi Survivor.
Yes. Oh yeah, awesome.
Elder Scrolls Online. Yes. Both with Necrom and the Golden Road. Starfield.
Oh, yeah.
Diablo 4.
Wow.
Star Trek Prodigy.
Nice.
Which now I'm like, it makes sense when I saw the list, like which characters you were. I was like, yep, that was him.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
And then you've got a couple of projects that are in post-production that trailers have been released and stuff for that, and the announcements have been made, but you're playing Prince Thomas in the TV series adaptation of The Rainmaker, which is an amazing Grissom novel, which has already had a movie made of it.
Yeah.
And then you get to be a part, or you are part of the ending to a movie franchise that goes back to when I was in high school.
Yeah.
In Mission Impossible.
Oh my gosh.
Dude,
so great.
So
when that came about, wow, yeah.
So for you, what's the last 4 years been like for you, just personally, with a lot of these projects?
And have you been able to take any time to rest? Because yes, it seemed you've been very busy.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because the last 4 years included a lot of that stuff, right? But for our industry, the last 2 to 3 years, since we went through COVID, we had the pandemic period. And then after we came out of that, we which was one of the things I battled with Gotham Knights, because it was whether or not I was going to get to Montreal to do motion capture and stuff for James
Oh,
Wayne. And then there was an issue and stuff with all of that, with traveling, and COVID was just wrecking everything. But with that said, things kept moving on. But then our industry went into total meltdown because we had the writer's strike, then we had the actor's strike, then we had IATSE struck. I think the directors had struck. And our industry just never recovered fully back to where we needed to be. And I think it's only maybe by the time January rolls around of 2025 that we will kind of be back on top of it. Hopefully, because and I could feel the change. I could definitely feel the change with the amount of castings that were coming through. When I would get a casting, I was thinking it was like gold dust to me because no one was getting stuff, and to be able to book a job during any of those times was even more gold to me because it was scarce. It really was. And unless you were like the A-listers sitting at the top of the pile there, everyone else was just kind of getting the breadcrumbs a little bit.
oh, geez.
So we all felt it, and it was hard, man. It was really hard. But I was out on the picket line. I was out there for SAG-AFTRA, doing my bit and stuff, and dealing with the whole AI thing, and there was so much involved, and trying our insurance back where we needed it, and there was a lot. There was a lot going on, and so it was difficult.
Which rightfully so, though. I mean, for you guys specifically, the health benefits was big, but also the fight against AI, because I was seeing some of the stuff that was coming out about it, and they were like, here, we're just going to give you this little day. We're going to give you a little check for it, but then we're going to use you for basically whatever we want to going forward.
The contracts that were coming from the studios were just...
I didn't know they were doing that.
Criminal. It was just... And
it was buying you out.
It didn't even border on absurd. Like, it was absurd. Like, this
was absurd.
You question, like, this is real. Like, this is a real offer.
I've got a lot of friends who do a lot of background work on stuff. They wanted to scan these people's image, and use it into perpetuity. Do you know what I mean? So they have it. Whenever a show or a movie comes up and they want to use likeness and pop it in the background or whatever, they have that ability. And
no residual.
Nothing.
So, and that was the one thing too, is like for us too, like when the strikes were happening, right? I didn't reach out to anybody for guests. I was like, you know what? I don't want to even cost you guys because, SAG had put out the statement that if you guys go on and you guys potentially say something, you're gone from SAG. I was like, I'm not going to put any of your guys' jobs at risk because we love what you do. And I'm friends with a lot of you guys. Like, I'm not going to say, hey, come talk to me, come on this show or whatever, because if something got said that SAG didn't like, it put your career at risk. So for us, we were like, nope, we're going to support the strike. We'll just cover some news, not worry about guests. And that was hard.
And you could see how it affected everything, even watching television and talk shows or some of the talk shows weren't necessarily affected as much because they were under a different union. But there was a lot of things where some of the show hosts weren't, they weren't having the writers because the writers were on strike. So they were, a lot of stuff was being rehashed, and stuff like that. And it was just crazy, absolutely crazy. And I haven't experienced that side since being in LA, but I definitely felt it. And because I work across the pond as well in London and things, and that translated over there because so much of the American stuff is shot in Europe, and so even that was affected. It was affected, absolutely.
And that's the thing is you're across the pond right now.
I am indeed, man. I'm in Dublin. I'm in Dublin, matey.
Ireland. So That's another reason, like, to make it even makes this even better to have as a bonus episode, get this recorded and put out for folks. Is that way, we normally record. That would have been early in the morning for you, sir. And no, I'm not making you get up at 4 a.m. to come
I
hang
appreciate
out.
that. I
Um,
appreciate that.
and then, also too is in this time too is your husband had a stage play run that,
He
he
did.
was doing while you were working. So it was
Oh
like,
my God.
Nice.
Listen,
yes, I
I,
follow him. I follow him. I've been,
he,
and
he
did
is,
he make is he on Blue Sky yet? Did
he hasn't,
did he finally?
no, he's still on Twitter, on X. But as you know, I jumped ship,
Yep.
which is a shame because I left a lot of people behind, and
Yep.
some of them have come to Blue Sky, but I was like, it's just not worth it. I'm sorry, gang. I'm really, really
Yep.
sorry. But it just got too much for me, and I had been sort of talking about doing it and talking about doing it, and I thought, no, maybe I'll be okay. I'll be all right. Teach, just keep scrolling. Just keep scrolling.
Just keep
Don't get
scrolling
locked
down.
in. You know what I'm saying? Don't get locked in. And are you there? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we're here. Mhm.
Okay. Um, I said, don't get locked in. Don't let yourself
Mhm.
be, you know, affected by all of it. But I'm an empathetic person, and
Mhm.
some things can affect me in certain ways, and I know that about myself. So when certain things get too much for me, I'm usually pretty good about just, letting it wash through me. But there just got to a point where, unfortunately, I just thought, maybe this particular platform I need to disassociate with for a little
Yep.
bit. So I deactivate it, and you can have 30 days to kind of not lose your handle and all that sort of stuff. You can go back. And I actually thought about it, thinking, oh, maybe I'll just go back and just check in. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do it. I think I made the decision
Nice.
to walk
Mhm.
away. And I miss communicating with some of the people that I communicated with. But eventually, I think maybe they'll be over on Blue Sky at some point. And, I haven't done threads or anything. And after a while, it just gets to be too much. I've got too many social platforms. I'm like,
Yeah.
I just need to narrow this down so that I can just concentrate on this particular group of people or
Mhm.
followers that I can really focus on rather than running around all over the place. It's great for business when I want to promote stuff for sure. Absolutely. But, sometimes it just doesn't allow me to really connect with people as much as I'd like to, you know? Uh, so yeah, I'm glad I made the decision. And to be honest, it's gotten easier since the longer I've been away from it, the easier it's kind of become that I don't think about it. Uh,
Nice.
you know,
And it's still kind of a transitional stage. Like I think people going from Blue Sky from X to Blue Sky, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's just going to take some time.
Yeah, it'll
I
take
think
some
so.
time, and getting used to that. The platform is slightly different to what I'm used to, but it's building up. I'm back down to like maybe 300 or 400 followers, from what I used to have. But I'm honestly, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world. They're just numbers at the end of the day.
Yep.
My biggest concern was more about connecting with the people.
Mhm.
And it was great for the gaming community because I had a lot of contact with fans and stuff that I had never really had the opportunity to be in
I
contact with.
mean, that's how I got in touch with you, and we started this.
Yes.
Was I sent you a message on what Twitter? I'm still gonna call it Twitter.
Yeah, I know, right?
Um,
I know.
but
Yeah.
no. So I have for the listeners just on that topic. When you go to Tommie's page, I do have his Blue Sky handle updated on his profile page. You can click on that and go directly. Also, if you haven't checked out his TikTok page, you need to go check him out on TikTok because
Hmm.
his videos, whenever you have a bad day, seriously, go look at Tommie's page and check out one of his videos because he'll make your day a better day. Just
That's so
great.
funny. Oh man,
Um,
thank you. Once in
so
a while, it's so funny because that's probably authentically me. Do you know what I'm saying? Just I love to have fun. I know there are people who are in the industry like we are who don't want to be seen in a certain light. They want to keep an image because of a role that they play or this, that, and the other. But I'm like, that's why we're actors. You know, I
Yeah.
go and I do a job and I act the role. What
Yeah.
I choose to do in other areas, don't judge me for it. I'm just having a good time.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? I'm just
Yeah.
having fun. Some
You're just
people are like,
being
oh, I
you.
don't think I could
Yeah.
do that. I'm just being me,
Yeah.
you know? And when time comes for me to play a role, I'll deal with that because that's the job. TikTok is not my job.
No.
TikTok is for me to have a bit of fucking fun.
Yeah.
Do you know
Yep.
what I'm saying? And be silly and do a dance, you know?
And it's a blast. I love it. Like every time your new
I have
videos
to
show
say,
up on the feed.
I actually really enjoy your unboxing videos whenever you get some good Death Stranding
Oh,
news. So those
Yeah.
are so I really love those because those are so much fun to watch.
I love it. I love being able to share stuff
Yeah,
with
it's cool.
people, and in a way only because I know that there are people who are interested in doing it. I
Yep.
don't do it other than for myself, other than to be able to share something that people kind of go, listen, I know you've seen this or heard about it, but I haven't. So let
Oh,
me
yeah.
I
really
was
show
jealous.
you.
I was jealous of the Jedi Survivor stuff you got. I
Some
was
of
like, really,
so am I.
dude?
I'm also super jealous of the custom the Death Stranding glasses from the game.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Those and of course your mask.
So
Like,
the
oh,
mask.
those look
Yeah,
cool, man.
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
how does it feel to you like that the game did well enough that Kojima's doing Death Stranding 2?
He is.
How does that feel for you being like a major part of the first game and
Well, listen, I have Death Stranding to thank a lot, to be thankful for, because as long as I've been working in this industry, you know, I was started working as when I was 14, you
Yep.
know, in theater. So I've been doing this for decades, but no one knew who I was. And even though I had a voiceover career, no one still knew who I was. I mean, there's all these voices out there that I've done that no one would ever really know. So until I think you've had an opportunity to be a part of a big global project where you have a very prominent role in it, it then allows people to make you a little more accessible to who you are. Do you know what I'm saying? And Death Stranding did that for me because it wasn't just like it was one country; it was worldwide. And so anybody who was a fan of Kojima's or the Metal Gear were anticipating this particular game, his first game out on his own, and it just allowed me to come into those people's lives that I'd never was ever privy to before. You know, and so that created a following for me, which was great, and it just meant that it helped me. I suppose my career stepped up a little bit, so I have Death Stranding to thank a lot for it. And part of it, I think, mainly is because my likeness was also used in it, so it wasn't just me hiding behind, a character that had been designed and just voicing it.
It was
but my
you.
actual likeness was a
Yeah.
part of that. And so that was something very new to me, and I had never done motion capture before. But it was great because I come from a theater background, and it's not dissimilar in that respect. But yeah, and so DS2 is happening. I have absolutely no idea about it. I don't know anything. Whatever you know is all I know.
Even if you did, Tommy, I'm not going to ask you.
Yeah.
Not while we're doing an episode. No, I just love to see when you have a game, a new IP come out, right, and you have so many talented people be involved with it that it kind of gives you a little sense of pride to say, hey, you know what, we made that game so successful. Not just because it was Kojima, right? I think it was everybody, the story,
100%,
everybody being involved with it that made that game a success.
Yes.
Like I myself, I still need to go back. I still need to finish the game. And like I've been sidetracked by so many different games that
I'm
my
gonna replay
backlog
it.
has just grown. But
I bought the
that
director's cut, so I'm gonna plan on replaying it soon.
I was
Yeah.
never a Metal Gear fan.
Okay.
Like that was just it was just something in retrospect, right? I absolutely respect Kojima and what he has done for the industry and what he means. Like he is when you talk about game directors and stuff, he's on Mount Rushmore. Like for
Sure.
me, he
Mhm.
is.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
But Death Stranding, the second I started playing it, I was like, I dig this.
It's so
I
different.
like everything with it. Your performance, Lindsay Wagner being in there as part of it and whatnot. Um, what said, I haven't finished it yet. I need to. Now that I've got the director's
Yeah.
cut for the PS5, I'm going to go back and actually enjoy it how it was meant to be
Yeah, yeah,
enjoyed.
yeah. It
Um,
was an, incredible experience, and to
Yeah.
have the opportunity to work with those. Not only was it my first time working with Hideo, but the entire cast of stellar
yeah.
performances, being able to work with those people, and I remember bumping into Lindsay Wagner in at Sony. I think she was coming in for a session just after I'd finished. And I tell you, I grew up obsessed with three women growing up. Absolutely obsessed with them. One was
Lindsay
Farrah
Wagner.
Fawcett.
Oh,
Okay.
Farrah
Who
Fawcett
didn't
made
okay.
there we go.
Farrah Fawcett growing up in those 70s, 80s and all that. I mean,
yeah,
yes, that's a given.
yeah, Farrah Fawcett, Linda Carter as Wonder Woman,
Yep.
Ooh, good one. Yeah.
and Lindsay Wagner as the Bionic Woman.
Okay.
I had those three women on my wall. Now, I don't know if it was because I saw them as very powerful women and what they did and stood for, but they were absolutely beautiful. And I loved them, And part of it is kind of, I think it was just the child, the young boy in me that was fascinated with these beautiful
Mhm.
women. They were stunning. They were Hollywood. They were all these things. They weren't the only people, but they were the three that I can remember. So when
Mhm.
I bumped into Lindsay Wagner, and it was the first time I'd met her, and I said to her, we met and they introduced us and everything, and I said, literally, I was fangirling out, just literally inside. And I said, listen, I'll be honest with you. I said, I'm actually fanning out on the inside. And she just looked at me with this little twinkle in her eye. I went, I know.
Oh, love it.
I know. But
That's
she
so
was
great.
an absolute,
Yeah.
she's adorable. And we did a thing in New York together, her and Troy Baker and myself. Hideo
Mhm.
had his, the world's convention thing that he had for
Mhm.
Kojima Productions and Death Stranding. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of, well, I come on the opposite side. I grew up on the Metal Gear games. I adored them. That was my first window into Hideo Kojima. So I really love his work and was very excited when he announced his first game, obviously Death Stranding, and was so excited for the game. And yeah, I just loved it. I was so excited for you and getting it, and the fact that I wanted to mention that you're part of being part of that world, like as Matt said,
Mhm.
but you're part of that fan base that the
Yeah.
fan base will never forget because I don't ever forget the first characters I saw from the first Metal Gear I played.
Sure.
The
Sure.
same with Death Stranding. You're part of that like ecosystem.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah.
fan or why the fans have clung to you and loved your work and are still around is because we appreciate the first games, the second
Yeah.
games,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we just love the stories that we've just
Yeah.
fell in love with the
Mhm.
characters.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah, man,
it
so just that's just what's so wonderful about you're a part of that world and part of that fandom now.
Listen, I'm so grateful to have experienced it. I'm so grateful to the people who have supported it, who've also, supported me. And it's probably the first project that I really feel like I've done where there's been this recognition for him around the world, and
Mhm.
that's a major
Yeah.
for me. And to be a part, I mean, I think about it sometimes, I get a little chill about it because I'm actually a part of a Kojima legacy. Do you know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
character
Mhm.
Yes.
he
Yeah.
created. And not only that, but it's a character that he does stand out purely for a lot of different reasons. and all I ever really wanted to do was to do it justice. And I think we did a great job with it.
Oh
And
yeah.
I couldn't be more, full of gratitude for the people who have reached out to me. I was going to say hundreds, but I'm probably in the thousands now of
Let's be
people who have
honest.
reached out to me, who have reached out to me just to express. And I had no idea that the confession scene was going to be as powerful and impactful to people as it was. I was just on the actor on stage doing what came from a truthful place at that moment in time. And the fact that it had such an impact, I feel like if I ever never did another game for him, I feel like, well, I've left a mark somewhere.
Exactly.
I mean, and my job is done. My job is done.
And like you
But I
said,
mean,
you're part of that legacy. And
yeah,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
who you are as an actor is what made that
Oh
scene
yeah.
so powerful to begin with, right? Yes, the
Sure.
words themselves had power, but it was
Yes.
you giving those even more power that is what
Interpretation.
resonates with everyone, which is
Yeah.
why some of those scenes are now resurfacing back on TikTok and everything as of lately, where they're
Yeah.
just the speeches and stuff. Um,
Yeah.
but let's move from one icon to another. What was it like being part of Final Reckoning?
Dude, it
The
was an
send off for
experience.
Ethan Hunt.
Oh my God. Listen, I'll start by saying, when I got the audition, it was a little under wraps about what it was
Mhm.
for. And the script that was sent to me was a sort of a dummy script.
Uh,
So I was auditioning for a role that I thought the role was going to be, and in actual fact, it wasn't. That wasn't the case. It was something else. Now, the experience of working with Tom Cruise and that entire cast of amazing people, I think we spent I spent 5 weeks in London, maybe almost 6 weeks or something in London, going on set every day and watching this process unfold, watching, how scripts were done and scripts were changed and things were coming off the press and the
Mhm.
paper was still hot, kind of
Sweet.
situation. But it was literally like watching masters at work. Christopher McQuarrie doing his thing as the director, and then
Mhm.
there's something about Tom Cruise, who is the epitome of A-list action
movie star.
movie star.
Yeah.
I mean, at the top of his game. He celebrated, I think we were there for his 60th birthday, which he
Oh wow.
celebrated. Dude,
Good God.
he looks
Mhm.
amazing. When he walks in, I'd be in my trailer waiting to start the day, and you'd hear the
Mhm.
rumble, the trailer would shake, and you think, oh, here comes the boss, and his helicopter would be landing right outside. He would come to work in his helicopter, which is hysterical, man. And then you walk on set, and he's like, "Hey, Tommy, how you doing?" And you're like, "Tom Cruise just said my name.
Like he said
Oh
my
my
name.
God.
He said my name. Can you say it again? I just want to get it down.
Please, just
Can I
one more
record
time.
that?"
Yeah.
But he was wonderful to watch and to work with. And my role isn't very big in the piece at all. I'm in a section I'm throughout, and I sort of play a character called Colonel Burdick. And he's like the right hand of another big character in the show. So it was a great experience. Angela Bassett,
Oh yeah.
Nick Offerman, some great
Mhm.
people a part of it. And that was only one section of the movie. All the other people, the regulars that I wouldn't see, they shot somewhere else and wherever they were filming. So those standard people who were always there, like Simon Pegg and that lot, are
And
all
Bing
shooting.
Raines and all them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's in
Mhm.
Oh,
different
okay.
places.
Yeah.
But my experience, and I met a group of people, we call ourselves the Scorpions. And they were a group that we all worked together on the project. and we have a sort of we still have a WhatsApp group
Oh,
called
cool.
Stranding, and we still contact each other all the time,
Like a group
all the
chat?
time. Yeah, a group chat,
Oh, sweet.
and because Scorpion, what I think was a code name for the show.
Oh, cool.
You
That's
know, a lot of projects have code names and stuff, so you never really know what it's called,
mhm.
but it's a working title of something or whatever. But yeah, so I made some really good, some close friends out of that, and that doesn't happen very often either. You know, you do a job, and there's such short terms. You know,
You
Mhm.
kind
unlike
of,
theater.
yeah, you
Yeah,
kind of say your goodbyes and like, hey,
yeah, and
hopefully I'll see you on
then
another project or something.
yeah,
Or,
exactly
yeah,
that. Whereas theater, you know, do 8 shows a week for a year on a contract, and these people are part of your life every night.
Mhm.
You know, 8 shows a week for a whole year, and if you re-sign a contract, you do another year with some of these
yeah.
people again. It's a little bit of a different connection, the theater community. But yeah, I mean, honestly, like I said, it was another incredible experience to just be a part of, and to be a part of the final one. You know,
Yep. Right.
I can't, you know, I can't still quite believe that I had a chance to experience it. You know, for me, I'm still like a kid. You know, when I get
Hmm.
these moments, little nuggets that are just, you know, I can just savor and kind of go, that was a moment. Everything, you know, every job that I do, no matter how big or how small, I'm incredibly grateful for,
Hmm.
you know, and I always remember, you know, where I came from. I always remember how hard it has been, you know, and even still,
Yep.
still think it's, I still consider myself a working actor, but there's a part of me that still considers myself the struggling actor. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it just because the struggle is always real. You know,
That's a good way to keep you grounded, keep that mindset.
a
'Cause,
hundred
yeah, like you
percent.
said, always keep going for it. Don't get complacent. You know.
Yeah, a hundred
Yeah,
percent.
I like
And
that.
I see it happen to people. I see people change through the course of things happening to them, and I just go, yeah, I can sense that there's a change in that person, and that's fine. That's their journey. It's nothing to do with me.
Hmm.
I can't take any of that personally. I'm just always I try to be aware, you know, and I always try
Yeah.
to, you know, remember people, remember
Hmm.
situations, remember what it took for me to get to where I am, and have a little
Yeah.
empathy for people
Mhm.
who are a part of it. Do you know what I'm saying? And just understand it. Because it's not a, you know, it's a job, it's a life commitment to try
Hmm.
and do what you
Oh
do.
yeah.
Because you can't just go, I'm going to do something and I'm going to make it, and then it's done. The work never stops.
Yeah.
No, you could. I'm
Hmm.
always feel like I'm grinding, and I don't have a problem with that. I'm always out to go and get the job. I'm always
Yep.
happy to get the audition. I'm always happy to get the recall. I'm always happy to book it. You know, because I know how many other people were. You know, I had to be
Going
out
for
to
it. Yeah.
get that role. You know, so it's just putting things in perspective about it.
At
You
this
know.
point, they should just be like, okay, we're gonna audition him. Nah, just give him the role. I mean,
I
seriously, I
wish it
mean,
was like that.
every performance of yours, Tommy, is great though. I mean, like when we see you like both in your voiceover work and then Wednesday, right? You had a part in bringing, you know, an iconic character from the Addams family
Yeah.
to the screen in a different light. Um,
Yes.
how was, I
Great
mean,
pivot. Yes,
yeah.
great
I mean,
pivot, by the way, because
how
I've
was
been wanting to
Wednesday?
ask you, yeah, what has it been like working with not only the Jenna Ortega, that cast, but Tim Burton, because my very first movie in the movie theaters was Batman. So
Okay.
I feel very lucky that that was my first movie. My grandma
Such a
took
Yeah.
me.
youngin.
So
Such a
yeah,
youngin.
and so that alone opened the doors to Tim Burton. Whenever I heard more
Yep.
movies of his were coming out, so
Right.
that's why I was just so excited for you for the fact that you got to work with
Another
such an
icon.
iconic yeah, not such an iconic director, but one of those directors that I also kind of wanted to ask you, depending on his his work ethic,
Yeah,
that has his own signature look to his movies. Because
sure.
I would say you can definitely tell,
Tim Burton
like
movie.
Tim Burton's kind of involved with this, or it's a Tim Burton movie. You know,
Yeah,
he usually has a certain tone and look in his films.
yeah.
And I was just wondering, I would just love to hear your elaboration and how much how was it working with him as a director? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, once again, that was another casting that came through for me that I auditioned for, and I wasn't sure. I knew it had to be something to do with the Addams family because I saw the name on one of the characters on the script, and all it said was Morticia, and I
Oh,
thought,
so that was
yeah,
it.
I mean,
yeah,
that's
it said
it.
Morticia
That's
in one of
it.
my
Oh, okay,
one
I
of my
got this.
scripts, and I was like, this has got to
Oh,
be.
awesome.
Right. But to be honest, the role, when I got the script, the breakdown for the role was not me at all. It was not me at all. It was
Really?
literally, he was sort of broken down as he was a politician. And this is very funny. It read like he was a politician with a tan, but maybe a slight sort of undertone in his demeanor or something like that. And what it really read like was it read like a Trump type character.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Yeah, that's what the breakdown kind of almost insinuated as a politician or a mayor or whatever. And I'm not saying that that's what it was, so I don't want to put that out there and make people think otherwise. This is how I saw, and I thought
How you interpreted it at first.
yeah, how I interpret it, but also that he wasn't African American. The role wasn't
Really?
set. No.
Wow.
And so when I got it, I was like, whoa, I kind of didn't see that coming. But I was thrilled to hear that, my agent's like, you've been handpicked by Tim Burton. I'm like, what?
That's awesome.
For this role. And then, of course, I later find out I have a son in the show as well, which was great, who was brilliant. But working with Tim was another sort of unexpected dream, I suppose, to come true, because he's always someone I highly revered in what he has created his entire career. But I had the early days, I had the luxury of spending time with him. There was a group of us who would go out to dinner and he would come out to dinner. I'd gone to his place and we had some
Sweet.
cocktails. And my birthday, was it 2 years ago? Almost, yeah, 2 years ago, I spent my birthday with him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was the coolest thing for me personally.
Oh.
I'm spending my birthday with Tim Burton and a few of some wonderful castmates. There's only like four of us, but I was able to spend time talking to him and understanding, how much he was saying that he'd related to the character of Wednesday, being a slight outcast himself. And he's an incredible artist. He designed a lot of Wednesday in terms of the designing of the monster in the show and sets stuff. I think he's come up with. He had a vision, like Kojima. He has a vision of how he sees things, and so it was great. It was wonderful, and working with him on set, he was just very easygoing and laid back. He didn't feel like there was any tense.
One of the coolest things I heard about him, and I hope you can confirm it, that I heard that he's like kind of like a child in a playground. He's just in his element. He just loves filmmaking. Yeah,
Loves it.
I love that.
And when you get the feeling that they love it, and I think Hideo's the same way. He loves what he does.
Good. I love hearing that. Yeah,
it's that thing. And if I have the opportunity to work with either of them again, I would jump at the chance. Absolutely. But he was wonderful to work with, and you get the thumbs up and you're moving on to the next thing, and he'll give you a couple of things to think about, and and I just felt comfortable. I felt comfortable with him. And in fact, the entire cast and the team, I've had some great people to work with, like Gwendolyn Christie and I used to laugh a lot on set, and I was always a fan of hers because I loved her in Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
Um, you know, and just to be working with those people, Christina Ricci, Catherine Zeta-Jones, even Jenna Ortega, who I think was just masterful in
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Oh my gosh.
Funny enough, they're filming in Dublin here while I'm here, so I met up with a couple of them
Oh,
since I.
nice.
No way.
Yeah, so they're
Awesome.
filming their second season whilst
Oh,
I'm
sweet.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
over here going, come on.
I'm
yeah.
still here.
Yeah,
I'm still here. Give me sequence.
if you want to resurrect me, I'm here.
You never know. Hey,
Yeah,
I
there
mean,
are
it is Burton.
supernatural elements, so you
yeah,
never know.
yeah. Maybe there's
Oh,
hope
that's so cool.
in season 3. Yeah, the mayor's twin brother.
So that was the
Oh
one thing,
man,
you
that's
mentioned
that's great.
you're going to be in Dublin for a while. Are you over there working on projects right now, or is this more just a personal trip?
Vacation.
No, I'm filming The Rainmaker here.
Oh
I didn't know
wow.
they're
Oh okay,
doing
great.
Rainmaker in Dublin.
Yes, they are.
Again,
Oh
case in
wow.
point,
Yeah.
shooting an American show.
Yeah, yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Yes, we're filming here in Dublin, and they have the locations that they have found because I think the show takes place in South Carolina,
Yeah.
of all places.
So
Funny,
a lot of
I'm like, how
rural
do you
like
find that in
forest
Dublin?
areas. Yeah, I know,
Right?
right? But I think like
Yeah,
the green like land and pasture
yeah, yeah,
areas,
yeah.
like
And they've
yeah.
got a lot of American style homes in far out where they've used certain things. I
Hmm.
don't want to give a lot away, but the locations have been great.
Oh, that's so
Um,
cool.
yeah, and
Yeah, that's so wild. It's in
they're
Dublin. That's so wild.
yeah, it's really, really cool.
So are you
Really,
going to
really.
be able to at least see your husband for Christmas and stuff? Or
Funny enough, you mentioned that. He is arriving on the 17th of December.
nice.
Nice.
Yes. He comes to Dublin on the 17th of December and for 3.5 weeks, almost a month.
Oh, so you get a good
Oh, that'll
enough
be
time.
great.
Cool.
Yeah, so
Because I know
we'll
you.
have Christmas in Dublin and we'll go to London to see our friends in London for a week
Yeah.
and then come back to Dublin in the new year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome because I know when you're traveling and stuff like that, he usually has his projects and it doesn't make it easy sometimes for you guys to get
Yeah,
together.
it's
So I think
always
it's
like
Yeah.
that.
awesome.
We're never in the same place at the same time for very long. But I will say, you mentioned him earlier about his show in London, and I say this because I feel like I want people to know if they hadn't seen it. Syncopation. It was a two-hander show. Excuse me, and he was phenomenal, phenomenal.
Hmm.
Devin Elise Johnson, his co-star, the two of them together were absolute magic, absolute magic, and I could not have been more proud to be there. And it was great
Yeah,
because I
Awesome.
had gone to Amsterdam as well. Everything just fell into place. I was doing a Elder Scrolls convention in Amsterdam for a while, and then I was able to fly to get to see his final week as well. So
Oh,
that was
cool.
really good. Yeah, yeah, it was amazing, amazing. He's really talented, really
Yep.
talented.
And that was some of the things I know when you were posting it and he was posting, I was like, retweet, retweet, like getting out there, like helping it out. Because I mean, honestly, it's like some of the little clips that he was put on was like he was fantastic in those clips. I'm
Yeah,
like, you know what? Those people that are able to go see it, go see it. And
yeah.
one last thing. So you mentioned conventions. Like, is it for you going to these conventions now? Like you mentioned with like Elder Scrolls, right? And people are showing up to these big conventions just to see these characters. Like, how's it feel to be a part of that?
And is this your first time doing conventions, or have you done a few?
Well, honestly, to be fair, you'd think I would have done more,
Hmm.
considering a lot of the stuff that I've done. But
Yep.
like I said, unless you are a prominent character, I think the good thing with Elder Scrolls for me was they had their 10-year uh, anniversary, but it also
Hmm.
their big convention, which was held in Amsterdam at the place called the Sugar Factory. It was incredible. But
Cool.
I played a companion, and my
Hmm.
particular companion became very popular with a
Yep.
lot of people. So that was the request for me to go, and so I think that has a lot to do with it. I think if you play a character that becomes incredibly popular, people want to book you in
Yeah.
on conventions. I have people who look after me for doing conventions, but I did Comic Con, I think, in London last October, or maybe the October before. Anyway, but I love it. I can't believe that people. It's so nice to see them face to face
Yeah.
and to hear what they think and how much they know. They know
That
more than
was
you
Yep.
yeah,
know.
that was going to be my next question. Like, well, then how is it experiencing with the fandom face to face, and you
I love
seeing
it.
the passion in their eyes, and
Yeah.
the
Well,
love of like what character you brought to life for them?
yeah, it just gives you an absolute overwhelming feeling, one, about how much they are invested in it
Yeah.
and how much they love the character. And even there are certain things about certain characters that I've played where they kind of go, like, people didn't like Die Hardman in the beginning of it.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? And that was another interesting term because I think if you stick with the game long enough, people kind of go, oh, I didn't see that coming or
Hmm.
Hmm.
whatever. And I think that is part of his journey. The part of his journey, he's so disconnected in so many ways throughout the game, but he's there, And so when you have people who come up and can give their input or shower you with their praise or whatever, it makes you feel like you've touched someone in a way that has inspired them or given them something to look forward to, or they just become so attached to what you've done that they look forward to what you do
Hmm.
next, and that your work
Yeah.
has come across in a way that makes them feel their feelings validated, I suppose. Do you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I
Absolutely.
I'm very active on social media with fans, and I like that because without them, we
You
aren't who
wouldn't.
we are.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
just to say, coming from two convention goers, we've been pretty prominent the last couple of years of being convention goers, and just say, please do more, and we would love to run into you and see you,
Oh my God,
Oh
I'd
yeah.
love that.
yeah. So
I would
I'm
absolutely
so
love that.
glad you've had a great time. Yes,
I have. I
good,
look forward to doing more. If the opportunity arises. So yeah, for sure.
perfect.
And
Well,
I
we
think
can't
that's
wait.
the what makes being a fan of yours, so delightful is that you are engaged with your fans. Like you are active and interacting with them and whatnot, and you actually care about them. Like it's not
Yeah,
just a, hey, I'm putting this up as a front. You actually care about them because to your point, right, is without them, in some ways there wouldn't be a you, right?
Yeah,
Because,
no, no,
um,
absolutely. We have the fans to thank for the careers that we have because
mhm,
they're the people who pay the money to see
yep,
you. You know what I'm saying? And so, yes, you may still be as good as you are and gifted as an actor or an artist or a performer or whatever, but if you don't have people supporting you,
mhm,
it's kind of like are you just doing it for yourself, which is
yep,
fine, which is fine. But to be catapulted into, A-list celebrity status, it's because you're bankable. People want to pay money to see you.
yes,
And yes, there are those people who feel like they're entitled to a little bit more of you than you're willing to give or
right,
feel you need to give. So there is a line. Don't get me wrong, there is a line, but I will walk up to the line. I'm not going to cross
mhm,
it, but I walk up and meet you halfway. And there is a point where we don't go any further than that. Let's just have a civil conversation and thank you so much for supporting me. I'm going to be a nice guy about it. Absolutely. I've got no reason
mhm,
not to. No
mhm,
reason not to be.
yep,
And as long as people approach me in a way that is respectable, I'm exactly the same way back.
mhm.
Exactly the same.
And I think this can be the same, said about any of your acting brethren, right? Because, you know, last year at Denver Fan Expo, not only did I get to meet Nolan North, but for me, I'm a huge Star Trek fan,
Right.
and Next Generation plays a big important part in my life in terms of it was shared memories with my mom and stuff, and with um, Jonathan Frakes and Gates McFadden, Brent Spiner, and Michael Dorn were all at Denver Fan Expo.
Right.
And I got to actually have a good 15-minute conversation. Jonathan Frakes held up the line to keep talking to me about it. But
He's
like
a
it
nice
was what I
guy.
had to thank him for what they did with Picard season 3, because last year for some reason was just hitting me hard from memories of my mom's passing and stuff like that. And it just that show helped get me through those memories as like a steward, because that was something we used to do every Sunday night. We used to watch
Right.
TNG when it would come on and whatnot. And he's the same way like you are. It's like
He
we're not
is.
here unless it's because of you. And he shared
Yeah.
some, memories of his loss and stuff that kind of
Sure.
coincides. And I think that's what makes going to conventions so nice. Yes, is that yeah, you get to see people you're a fan of,
Yeah.
but when you share those stories with them, you see their human side, and that
Yes.
they're like very grateful for that connection and those stories you're sharing with them that
Yeah.
make it all
Yeah.
the worth it. Yeah, all the money in the world, yeah, it's great, but
Sure.
it's the work that you do bringing those characters to life and how they
Yeah.
impact people, like you talked about Die Hard Man, right? And how that impacted people.
Yeah.
So, but speaking of seeing people and stuff like that, it's the same thing that happened with the last time you were on the show. We're already at the top of the hour
Oh my gosh.
already, you know, and we
Time
have to
goes
have
too
you
fast, man.
we have to have you back on more often than just 250
Yeah, yeah,
episodes.
yeah. When
I did honestly,
you have an
Tommy,
open invitation, of course.
I didn't even think it'd
Thank
been
you.
that long. Really, I didn't think
Neither
it'd
did
been
I.
4 years
And
have
you
gone
know why that
by.
is? Because we're always in contact with each
Yeah,
other, and I don't feel
and
like the
just
time has passed like that much. So,
and even then, it's like it's not like I've been always going, "Hey, when you gonna be on?" It's I'll send you messages. How have things been? Like, how are things
yeah,
going? And
yeah, yeah, yeah. Which
how
I
are your husband
appreciate.
doing?
I
And it's
appreciate.
like, granted, I'll send you, text you a picture of like the Christmas card or whatever and say, "Hey, Merry Christmas" and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that's the thing is like conversations with you, we could just sit here and go all day
For
long, and
Oh
hours,
yeah.
I would love listening to the
for hours,
stories.
easily,
Um,
easily. It's
but it
so I was
is,
so excited to see you
yeah.
guys.
Oh
Because I
yeah.
Oh,
had
oh
a
yeah.
while,
We were so
but
yeah,
just joyful,
same
And
here.
man.
then, and unfortunately, Theo and Jason, they're working, couldn't make it, but
Yeah,
it was like, hey, you know what? Let's get you back on, and we're gonna do
yeah.
this as our bonus episode because tomorrow night we're gonna do our voting for the Game Awards. You know,
Oh, yes, of course.
yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Yes.
yep. So, but Tommy, it is always an honor to have you
Oh,
on, and
man.
I'm glad to count you as a friend in life and
Yes.
whatnot, and
Yeah, yeah,
we'll get
yeah.
you back on sooner than
Same.
later. Um, in case we don't get to talk before the end of the year, which I'm assuming we will, but Merry Christmas,
Merry Christmas.
You both.
to you and your husband
Happy
and
holidays.
whatnot.
Happy New
Thank
Year.
you, man.
Yes.
To
Thank
our
you very
listeners that
much.
are catching in this, this episode, which won't be live, like I said, we're gonna put up as a bonus episode.
Sure.
Thank you for taking the time out of your day over these last 300 episodes plus to join us, have these amazing guests that are on our show to talk with them. Go check out Tommy's profile on crashinggamenight.com. You'll see links to his Blue Sky and his TikTok on there. Um, but for everybody, especially what's going on, not only in the US, but throughout the world right now with all the different things going on, just please be excellent to each other.
Yes. Be
That's
kind.
right. All you nerds out there, thank you all for joining. And once again, I was very excited for this episode, bonus episode. I want to call it just a treat.
Yep.
Tommy, I was so excited that you were finally coming back, and
Yeah, man.
I'm so happy for all of your recent success, and I hope more is to come. And I also hope you have just a wonderful and relaxing time with the husband for those 3 weeks
Yes, thank you.
for
Yeah.
Christmas, and
Deserved. You've been away for a
well
while.
deserved.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. And yeah, anytime, and let's not make it a longer,
Yes, let's
amount
not.
of time
Let's
until the
not.
next
250.
episode. So yeah.
Let's not. Yeah.
But once again, I just want to send out that same message out there. Let's all try and be a little bit more patient. Let's try and do and be a little better. Let's just try and lend out a helping hand and just try and be there for one another. Listen and try and have a more of an open perspective in mind, because it is crazy out there right now.
Yeah.
We all have our opinions, and let's just try and be patient and be kind. Thank
Agreed.
you all. And
And
Tommie,
in the immortal
once again, thank
words,
you so much.
immortal words of Theo. Till next time, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. TTFN. Ta-ta for now.
Ta-ta.